Welcome back to the YouTube channel and podcast Kick and Post. I'm your host, Amal Thompson. I am with SaylessK. How are you doing today, sir?
Doing good, man. Putting in a lot of work this weekend. Draft is finally over, wrapping up. How'd you feel about, I guess, the weekend? How'd it go for you and your emotions?
A bit frustrated, but I'm trying to trust the process. Um,
I
Trying really hard to trust the process. It's
Yeah,
difficult right now. It's super difficult right now. But I, they did their thing before. This duo did their thing before in different, areas of their life. Of course, they have a lot more responsibility now, but Liam Cohen did the thing before. Our GM did the thing before. It's just hard to see the picks we made and be fully confident in what's going on. So there is that struggle. But pulling up our draft, you know, it's a lot of tight ends, man. 2 tight ends too many. And then I'm not in love with the wide
yeah.
receivers we took either. And I mean, I got to go back and watch some more film, but I'm looking at CJ Williams, Josh Cameron, and they don't move me. I've heard solid things about Tanner Kazile out of Houston, but I have Brenton Strange. Didn't think I needed him, right? But again, trust in the process. Trust in the process. Things will be fine. Everything's fine. No need to overreact. We're
You
chilling.
might, though. It feels like you trust the process because you have to, not
I
because you
mean, yeah.
want to.
I mean, you're a Bengals fan. Don't you consistently trust the process year after year?
No, I
Okay,
don't actually. I
my
should.
bad.
Sometimes when you losing faith, I ain't gonna lie, because sometimes you got to call stuff out for what it is.
Mm-hmm.
You want to trust the process, but at a certain point, you gotta call out what's real. So I've been there before. So I'm asking, are you at that point yet? Coming off of the year you guys just had, it's like you said, you have to trust the process. Like you have to.
I mean, LeQuint Allen wheels up. Talked about it
You love that guy.
preseason. I have. I staked my
Yeah.
flag, man. And we went into the draft and left without any running backs. So price
Yeah.
did go up. No arguments there.
To who?
Unless you're a Chris Rodriguez guy.
I'm
If
about
you're a
to
Chris
say, yeah,
Rodriguez guy, I mean, or if
it's
you're
the
a
same
Tootin
price.
guy, you know,
It's
you
the same
take it for
price.
what you think. But I think my LeQuint Allen stock is I'm gonna load up on some LeQuint Allen this offseason. But let's not get too.
He's free. Yeah.
Yeah, oh, I mean, if he's free, come back to this vid. If he is, come back to this vid halfway through the season. We don't miss over here at Kick and Post, which is
Oh,
why
we
we're
do
here.
plenty.
Yeah, yeah. It's not misses. It's just too early, which is why we're here to talk about the NFL draft because on face value, it seems like a lot of misses, at least from what we care about a lot, which is fantasy perspective, right? We're big
Yeah,
fantasy
sad day.
guys. Dynasty fantasy specifically is kind of our bread and butter. And it hurts. It hurts to see some of these landing spots because I don't know what to think. I mean, we did the Jeremiah Love video. We figured making it out of the top 10 was a foregone conclusion. He would not be getting out of the top 10. Uh, I saw possibilities for Arizona, but I said he would probably never get past the Titans. And lo and behold, he lands with Arizona at 3. I know you're not a big fan of the landing spot, but I'm optimistic. For fantasy, at least. We were likening him to Ashton Genty in many ways in the video. I think you can expect a pretty similar rookie year. Almost exactly the same kind of statistic, except you'll be able to get a little bit more receptions on the front end than Genty was. I think Brissett will be dialed in to check down to his running back more often than not. If it hurts anybody, it's Michael Wilson. I don't think he's going to have the same level of year to start or even complete the year that he did last year on the back end. Not to say it's an anomaly. I do like the guy, but I feel like acquiring a guy like Jeremiah Love makes the offense run a lot smoother for you. Um, but touchdown upside, in my opinion, is fairly low. The line still not the best line in the NFL, and the quarterback isn't really one that garners much respect when it comes to consistently running an offense in competitive games. So for that reason, I'm in on Jeremiah Love. But if you're a competing team, he's more of like think Bijan that first year and a half, where you're like, I can see it on film. It's just not translating to fantasy points yet. I think you're going to run into a situation like that for Jeremiah Love. And the Cardinals as an organization for their draft has some questionable picks like that. Because even though we love Jeremiah Love, I just don't think their team is in a position to be garnering that kind of talent. But I guess when you're up there, you do what you got to do to get that guy. They leave the second round with an offensive guard, might help a bit from Texas A&M. They start the third round off with Carson Beck, which we didn't cover him really in our prospect coverage. But to make a long story short, there's things that he does at like a mediocre level, and then there's things that he's very bad at. I don't think he does anything at
Wow.
an elite level. So,
Wow, I wasn't seeing that going that way.
I
Man, it's
mean,
something at least positive to say.
what did you have positive about Carson Beck?
I didn't watch them, so that's why I have no comment. I don't got no opinion. I know they made the college playoffs, but
Yeah, they made
like
the
you said,
championship game.
nothing really jumped out for me. He's like he was there.
He was there, and I mean, he
But
made big plays down the
well,
stretch. Um, you don't beat Ohio State and Ole Miss without him having, either some solid grasp of the offensive scheme and how to make sure to make it through these games without very damaging turnovers. Um, Keep the offense moving, trust the run game. That's what he did, right? And if he ends up starting any games in Arizona, guess what they're going to ask him to do? Simple completions, trust the run game, no turnovers. Like, they're not going to ask him to do anything crazy. So, I think Arizona had a decent draft, but there's some head scratchers in there. What says you when you look at that draft?
for Arizona, just draft as
Yeah,
a whole.
for Arizona, and then of course Jeremiah Love, because he was like the top prospect. We felt like outside of Mendoza, which we knew how that was going already, but
Yeah, and I'm gonna have to go back on a few things.
okay.
Mendoza's growing on me. I don't know. I woke up this morning feeling a little different. I'm just like, am I overthinking it? Because I was watching our previous video and like just hearing us talk about him. It's not a sexy pick,
Mm-mm.
but it's reliable. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's solid. It could pay dividends. Like it might not be a high ROI, but there's an ROI there somewhere. Something I'm like, like let me see for the right price. Let me see what we're working with. But overall, the Jeremiah Love, I'm being sold on it. I didn't like you said, I didn't love it. Speaking with
Pun
you, speaking
intended.
with other people, I've been trying to acquire a pick to get him, and that was my counter argument is that it's Arizona, but hearing the rebuttals, I'm like, you know what? Maybe you're right. Maybe I might have to pay a little extra to get him because, like you said, we're on a team that's going to have checkdowns, efficient, get them going, get them comfortable, get them adjusted to the game. And just how Arizona plays, I don't really expect them to win too many games. Really don't. So you could start paying dividends pretty early on him. So
Yeah,
I was hoping for a better, more younger quarterback to say, if you think here I'm going, but this isn't like the worst spot. It'll get better. It should get better with time. Not with Beck, but it's a shot. So
Bex this year to kind of be the
I
backup. I feel like, again, worst case
yeah.
scenario, he's an experienced guy. He's been um in a couple offenses. He's again decent arm, could make the first read completion if it's there. Utilized his legs fairly well and trusted the run game at Miami.
Yeah,
And
well, I don't think Brissett's that bad. I think he's
I don't
good.
think he's that bad, but I also don't think he's a quarterback you're building around more than a year. We've
No,
seen
I think
this.
that's the
Yeah,
issue you're gonna
yeah,
see with them. Like you can't really build with Brissett, but he's not bad enough to lose games in a fashion that you would think. They're gonna lose, in my opinion, a significant amount of games,
yeah.
but they're also gonna be competing in a significant amount of games.
No, a thousand
That's
percent.
just how
Yeah,
that's how I see it. So that's why I see Love in a better situation I thought initially. But yeah, Brissett isn't the answer, but he is a band-aid. He's a good band-aid.
no, for sure.
Like, love it. But
Yeah,
I think that will be good for Love as a young back to lean on that veteran presence and to learn from someone who can, especially with like him and James Conner, that can like kind of give him that wisdom acceleration a little bit quicker than other organizations that don't have those
James Conner's a
people
great
in the
guy to learn
building.
from.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
James Conner's a great guy to.
phenomenal
Yeah.
guy. So
Um, not to go over each team by team so that we don't, lengthen this too long, but which draft do you feel like going back and looking at the picks really sticks out to you? Obviously, you pay attention to the guys in the AFC North as a Bengals fan, right? But do you
Yeah.
think any teams had egregious reaches, banked a little bit too heavily on talent that could be developed rather than talent that's in front of them?
Are
Yeah.
you referring to who I think you are in Simpson?
No, but I mean, let's go there because I mean,
Yeah.
we did
I mean, we
do
hit that. We
a
kind of hit that
pre-draft
on the head.
video on him.
We were too accurate. When I was referring to the Rams,
Yeah,
if this ring can be successful, I was realistically thinking third round, not
yeah,
13th. I'm
yeah.
thinking he's still there. Probably shouldn't. Let's roll the dice on it. Maybe we can get this to work out. You use your top pick on that. That's when I'm like, okay, like what are we doing? And not once again, not to say that you don't know what you're doing, but no one has a clear plan when your goal is to maximize on an MVP caliber quarterback. Like there's no excuse for it. Like it's saddening, it's disheartening, but I'm just upset that we were right in the wrong way. Cause just takes away from the game. If they had another playmaker, even with the tight end from Oregon still on the board, something that can have an impact from last year that could put you over the edge from that situation where you're one game out of the Super Bowl, rather be on offense or defense. It's not a backup quarterback for the next 2 years. And even if you think Stafford's going to get hurt this year, and you need to develop him for 2 years, you can't say we're going to have him for when Stafford, if Stafford gets injured, he's not going to be ready. You've already stated that. So once again, not saying you don't have a plan. I'm just asking, what is it? Clearly, it's not to win now. So
I am a bit
that's all I saw.
confused. I'm a bit confused as to the moves they made with the Chiefs seem like we're going all in for next year. And if that's the case, I figured you'd take a pick on that 13th spot that also echoes that narrative. But I understand the angle of if you believe in a guy, you want that extra year if you take him in the first, because obviously the contract's 5 years in the first round, right? 4 years in the second for your rookie
I
contract
believe
or
so.
something like that. Now you get that
Something
bonus
along those
year,
lines.
but just looking at the prospect in a vacuum, I think there's more Ty Simpsons that could walk through that door.
There's plenty of them. They're
It
everywhere.
sounds
Like,
very
like
harsh. And I'm not saying he won't be successful in the league because that's not the point here. And I feel like just like how the Rams won the chip the first time, how was it accomplished? It was not with the guy they drafted. They went to a situation where a guy was performing very well but couldn't get over the hump. They traded what they needed to trade for a veteran guy, and they built pretty much an all-star roster around it. You can't necessarily replicate that year after year after year, but you look across the landscape of the league, who's coming up on a deal or who's coming up on a deal that might end soon that could generate that kind of interest around the league. There's a lot of young quarterbacks is also what I'm realizing when I started looking down the list, but who might be in a
yeah,
situation where they're not happy and they're trying to go somewhere. Sincere
yeah. It's
question for
like
you.
that's the real
It's a guy
question.
that
It's
we really
like
made you upset about, but who's out there who has said he's here to win games and sometimes football's not fun anymore? Who's out there? You know who's out there.
yeah. So
You
it's
said you guys
like
are
you
winning the
said,
Super Bowl this year.
we
If you
are.
guys don't and things keep being shaky for that dude, I think you could
Yeah,
learn away from there
yeah.
personally. And then what was the point of that pick? Going to Ty Simpson. I don't
It's
know.
like as an organization, you have to ask or answer one of two questions. Would you rather commit to a Super Bowl with Matthew Stafford,
Mm-hmm.
or would you rather commit to building the future? And not saying either of those routes are wrong. If you go off of the most recent data that you have to go off for your team, you were a couple plays away from the Super Bowl winners winning the game that you could have been in and also could have won. So if you're that close to that goal with Stafford compared to building for the future and your first building block of the future, not including Puka Nacua, of course, but your first building block towards that vision was, okay, let's go lock up Ty Simpson. Like you said, like I could go find five ties. Not to say he's a bad guy, but what he contributes, his skill sets, his play or style of play isn't. There's nothing really special about any of it. Like
I don't think so. I'm being told otherwise,
it's
right?
not like
But like,
we've both been told. I'm trying to see it. I'm really trying to find it, but then I see articles of relationships within the building, and then I see reactions of certain coaches and the nonverbal communication that I'm seeing where even he's confused. Nah, like lack of
mhm,
communication. If you
yep,
believe in the pick, why is there lack of communication? Why is there distrust? Why are so many people having the same reaction? And if you really believe that much in it, it would have been highly communicated. That's so you have to hide your picks or like give out your info.
mhm,
But even thereafter, you would think everyone in the building would at least be on board. Like, and it seems like not even a 50-50 split at this point, but more like a 60-40.
yeah,
Could be 70-30, maybe 90-10, with 20% being fake because they want to keep their job. Like, not too many people are happy with that move. And it's like, it's right. It's just sometimes you fumble. Sometimes you're so good, you overthink it,
yeah,
and then you fumble. I've been there. I do it all the time. It happens. But this is why I salute the Bengals because instead of us reaching and trying to do something that we know we shouldn't be doing, like you said, trade the pick. Go get what you need right now. If you're
exactly.
really committed to that goal, prove it by
Go
any
lock it
means.
up.
Even if it means overpaying with the 10th. We overpaid, but we got what we needed. Like,
You did.
that's how I feel. We got what we needed or what we thought we needed. Did the Rams get what they needed?
Yeah.
No. Like, just
We
a
look
fact.
and
So,
to go back because I mean I didn't even look at who they took at wide receiver because I'm not gonna say that's like an overwhelming need, but Devontae Adams is up there.
yeah.
I don't hate the CJ Daniels acquisition. There's not a lot of tape because he missed a few games with injury. Um, very highly rated prospect, but you know we're talking 6th round dart throw at that point. Um, we had another guy we were trying to lobby to go to the Rams. So let's say we make a flip, right? I'm not the biggest Lemon fan, but let's say we go Lemon in the 1st round, and then in the 6th round we take because I think this guy went 6th round. No, yep. In the 6th round, instead we take Taylor Green if you want to get cute with QB picks and have somebody waiting in the wings. Do you think a combination of Lemon and Taylor Green fits the mold a little bit more than to go Ty Simpson, CJ Daniels?
No, only because of the system that McVay has. It's like, think about the guys they went to acquire. You went and traded for Matthew Stafford. You know exactly what you're getting from him. You went out your way to get Stetson Bennett. I don't know why, but you kind of have like the type of guy that you want where Stetson Bennett is a Ty Simpson. Like those are two very similar guys. You know what you're getting from. They're like nothing special, nothing cute, straightforward. And it's like those are your two options that you want. Sure, like if that's your mold for your system, okay. But to get it at, like you said, get it at 13th rather than Taylor went what, the 6th round? Like I said, Ty Simpson, 3rd round, I'll roll the dice. I love rolling the dice. But 13th, we playing Russian roulette? Like what are we doing here? Like just let
Nuts.
me know what's happening because
Nuts.
once again, Lemon will at least tell us, okay, you guys are committed. Okay, we see what you're doing, or at least what you're trying to do. We have a vision. Anything else, somewhat of a vision. But that pick is this just I was really hoping for the Oregon guy, honestly, the tight end.
Yeah,
Like
Sadiq there would have been
McVay
fun.
loves
They love
the
they love a good tight end.
that
Sadiq
boy.
would have been sick there.
He gets twitchy with the tight ends. They'll run
No,
four out there just for giggles, I promise. But that would
no.
have been something like, okay, you know what? Maybe that could be a difference maker deep in the postseason. I've seen it happen with another young tight end in Chicago. So I'm just saying, right system, right skill set, big impact. This guy, no impact.
Okay.
Great backup quarterback, though.
Talking about big impact. Which team do you feel like,
Don't make me say it.
especially first 2 rounds, took the biggest impact player?
For them
Yeah,
or just in general.
for them. Like will change either the direction of where the team is heading, change how they compete in their division. However you see that impact playing out. Which team made the best first or second round selection?
I will stand on this, but I do think the Dallas Cowboys with Caleb Downs
Okay.
made an
I know
impact
you wanted him
with
really
that
bad.
fit. Too bad because he's a same situation that Kyle Hamilton was in.
Mm-hmm.
The position isn't really valued. Not to say that the talent isn't there,
Mm-hmm.
but due to positional value is why you're slipping. Pure talent, top 3, top 4.
He's up there.
Like,
Insane.
he's up there. But because he's a safety,
Insane.
I don't know. Like, I feel like he should have fell in the same category as Jeremiah Love. Yeah, the position is cool and all, but when you see talent at that level and what it could be, you go and get it. Whereas, like, we do that with edge rushers all the time. We draft them for what they could be. You know what this guy is already and what he will be, and he
Yeah.
still slides. That's crazy to me. Like, so I think they got a steal at their position. Um, the more I look into it,
Mm-hmm.
the Chiefs, man.
Oh gosh,
Like you
the
said,
Mincer Delane, yeah.
go get your guy. Go get your guy, man. And
Mm-hmm.
people were trying to give him dog for it. I was one of those. But if you got info, and this is only validated based off of what the Eagles did to the Steelers. But if you guys any info that your guy's gone, do whatever it takes. They had info that the Saints were ready and active. Okay,
Yes.
so we'll do what we got to do. I can respect a good call. I think he's good. Watch him tape a little bit more. Um, really good. And I think they followed up with Peter Woods in the second.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't say anything about it.
I
Like,
think they
hey,
came back in the first to get Peter Woods, no?
I think they even got him at 29th. I
Yeah,
think
they
they traded up. I saw that.
traded up to get him. You
Okay,
know who
so
had
yeah,
a
I
fun
mean,
draft for me, not to cut you off?
go ahead.
The Bucks.
Uh,
The
who they went there
Bucks.
first?
Okay.
Bane.
So we go Bane at 15.
Yeah,
Very, very good edge rusher. People are worried about the arm length. I'm
we'll
not
see.
overly worried about the arm length. I think his bend ability and ability to get around the corner. You know, I'm hearing Dwight Freeney comps. I'm hearing Von Miller comps. I like those because they're also a bit like undersized guys. But again, bend and twitch. All right. Um, Josiah Trotter from Missouri, linebacker.
What position?
I'm not gonna act like I'm like big on knowledge on him, but then let's go third and fourth round picks. And this is where I get a little bit jealous as like a Jacksonville fan, right? Ted Hurst, one of the fastest risers in the wide receiver draft class, 6'4", 206, runs very good routes, good quickness, short area, great size, goes up and gets the ball. The big issue is comp. He played at Georgia State, right? With those measurables, we're a little bit worried about how that's going to translate to the league. I feel like we've run into this story before with like Antonio Goldie Gaddon or something like that. He played for Washington. He was from
Okay.
Liberty, and would be same situation. Big dude, uh, performed well at the combine. Everybody was wondering why was he not really getting the love. Got to the NFL, different level of athlete. But here's where I feel like Tampa really hit. Keontae Scott, the Miami cornerback, dealt with a lot of injuries last year. Huge reason why they beat Ohio State in the playoffs. This man is a thumper. He's out there to make tackles take heads off, but also plays good in coverage. I feel like on the defensive side, they acquired 2 day one starters in those first 4 rounds. And that's huge because in that division, where I feel like a lot of teams got better, Atlanta had a fairly good draft as well. I am out on some of the things Carolina did in the draft. And then the Saints had a pretty up and down draft for me. I feel like they could really put themselves back in the driver's seat where I was out here pretty much putting them in third, maybe fourth in that division now. So I think it was a very impactful draft by them because they added a lot of toughness on that defense that needs it. That defense got walked through a lot since Brady left. So I love their drafts so far. I think the Giants did a good job of utilizing their picks. Not gonna say they're my
Really?
favorite, but I think I liked the 2 top 10 picks for sure. I liked Francis. Unfortunately, I'm hearing he might be dealing with some injuries, so it's tough to take a guy with injury risks at the 10 spot already, where he might already have to get surgery. Arvell Reese, great athlete. Again, very raw prospect, but very superior athlete. My only issue is they have 15 pass rushers over there. What are we doing with that, right? Sneaky team though that I want to throw out there. The Minnesota Vikings. I think their defense got a lot better in this draft.
They get the I think they got Carl Banks
They got Caleb Banks, yeah,
or
which
Caleb. Yeah.
to be determined how he'll, perform. Has all the measurables, but hasn't really been able to exhibit that on the field. Again, I'm a fan of the Jacoby Thomas safety pick out of Miami. Very
Yeah.
physical safety.
Yeah.
That defense
What
was
round did
already
they get him in?
underrated. Huh?
What round did they get the safety in?
The third round.
Third. Okay, because I know a lot of people are going off on Twitter regarding the Oregon safety still available in the first round and then passing on it.
Yeah.
With his
Yeah.
talent, his level.
Like Thielman.
So I figured they would, of course, get another one in the later round, but I didn't know they ended up going with that guy. So
Yeah.
uh,
I think
right direction.
and I've been saying it out in public a little bit more as a dabbler and as somebody who will talk about the divisions later on in the year. I think just like how last year I was kind of pegging Chicago to make a run in that division, I think Minnesota is the sneaky pick to come back after a bad year last year
I don't think it's sneaky,
and
to be
win the
honest.
division. I really
Yeah,
think that
it's not
defense
sneaky.
is probably, barring how healthy Micah comes back, right? I think that defense is going to be probably one of the better defenses in that division. And then you're adding Kyler Murray to an offensive system that is very quarterback friendly. As long as he's willing to kind of take that tutelage from Kevin O'Connell, I like Minnesota to win the what is it, NFC North, right? Yeah, NFC North. Because I think the Lions regressed heavily. They regressed last year. I think the regression continues. I think the Bears are doing very much what the Jags did. Have a good year. Let everybody walk out the door. Like the team's looking completely different from what made it to the playoffs. And then that leaves you with Green Bay. And they did some good things, I think, in the draft. But I still have question marks on the defensive side of the ball specifically. Outside of their pass rush, I think their pass rush is going to be pretty solid. But what's that secondary looking like? I don't think we addressed it well enough. And then obviously the running back position with Josh Jacobs dealing with a lot of injury. They didn't really add anything there. And their wide receiver room isn't necessarily decimated, but the guy that I felt like was an easy completion target, gone. Ascending Wicks, gone. You invest in Jaden Reed, who I've come to not like that much as a wide receiver. If there's anybody I was willing to leave that wide receiver room, it would have been him, right? And then we're banking a lot on Watson, who's played one healthy season, I think, his entire career. So there's only like one team in the division I feel like that has at least a B+ on both sides of the ball. Well, two, and it's Green Bay and Minnesota. I think the other teams have some deficiencies that kind of put them out of the running. So, to go on a little bit of a sidebar, you haven't talked about the Bengals draft, but I kind of want you to
talk about.
I want you to talk about the Bengals draft a little bit. But not only that, how you feel like some moves have impacted the division, because you look at the Steelers,
Oh, easily.
the Baltimore
Look at everyone's
Ravens.
first pick. What they draft.
The Baltimore
They already
Ravens,
know.
the Steelers,
They already
the
know it's
Browns.
coming.
They
already know, baby.
They went for the linemen's, and not only that, 2 out of the 3 very heavily invested in wide receiver help, and I feel like that's an adjustment to you guys, not to really stroke the
They
Bengals
have to.
fan ego, right?
No,
But
not stroking. It's just calling it how you see it. You see a guy that comes to your division that can wreak havoc. You have to prep in some way. It's
yeah,
not going to be the answer, but like you said, you see the ripple effect of us doing that before the draft, and now every team pivoting to getting an interior guy that can bolster what was a weak spot for a lot of teams in our division. Now, granted, we got improvement last year on our O line, ranked top 10 in pass defense. Why are they drafting receivers? Because now you have to keep up with us. We're going to average 30 a game. We typically do, barring Joe. Either Joe is healthy, we're going to put up a lot of points. And if you have a guy that can disrupt the run, that you're going to have to double. Our first pick in the draft was another edge from Texas A&M. Can't think of his name right now, but watching the tape, he's a dog. Like he's that guy. He has the energy we need. He has the speed, the athleticism that can benefit from a one-on-one look, especially in our division, because like it's really It's not what it used to be. I know the Browns have a solid top 5 line, like Joe Thomas back in the day, like the Ravens, solid run blocks across the board. They have Pro Bowls on that line. Even with the Steelers, man, like the Marquise Pouncey, like all that's gone now. So it's like it's a new regime, I feel like. I think this D line we have now is the best we've had since those days, back in those days when we had like a
Unproven,
Carlos
even though it's
Dunlap,
unproven,
Geno Atkins. What do you mean it's not it's unproven?
because
It's
it's a
ascending.
lot of youth. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's an ascending,
A
but
lot of
for
a
you to
lot of
put him in
youth,
that
a lot of
era
youth.
already, it's not really backed
Well,
in
when we
much
got
stats.
Mafe, I think that helps a lot as
Hmm.
well. He's a little bit of an older guy compared to I think how raw our other prospects are with Stuart Murphy. Um, they're still like young players in terms of that experience, especially
Hmm.
playing with people that, in my opinion, no offense to Trey, but Trey does his thing on his side. Whereas with Dex, it's going to spread everywhere. When he's on the field, everyone plays better. Like he just makes a lot of jobs easier, not only on that line, but for our backers as well. So that's what we also saw in this draft. I think we drafted our first linebacker, I think 5th or 6th round. Or no, we had 2 4th round picks we traded. So
Hmm.
we addressed it pretty late to where a lot of people thought we would need to address that probably in the 2nd round. I know Buddy Boy from Texas Tech was still on the board, ended up going to Miami, and a lot of Bengal fans are like, what are we doing? But that just shows you the faith we already have in what we got and what we're building with our D line. So we can settle that. That's a 2 for 1. Like their job is going to be significantly easier compared to last year. We addressed our
Yeah.
secondaries in the free agency, got some vets in there. So I think it was a good draft. It wasn't like a killer draft. Um, I think the only thing that would have been better than this is getting Downs at 10. But after signing 2 safeties, um, and with us keeping the pick, seeing how the Cowboys are moving and how we typically move, I think someone trades up to get Downs. I don't think he would ever get past us if we still had our pick. So I think we did the right thing for once, which is rare to say. But don't guess, just get the talent. Like if you're committed, we can't wait for a rookie or hope for a rookie. We know what Dex is when he wants to be out there and he's motivated. We've seen it. 2 years ago, he ranked top 17 NFL 100. He's a top 3D tackle. What are we talking about? Like,
No, for
get your
sure.
guy, move on. So,
He ain't even
I think,
30 yet, right?
yeah, he's 28. Like, he's literally in his prime. Everyone's like, oh, you gotta pay him. I hope so. I kind of want to pay players. That means they're good. Like, you think you're getting great talent for free? No. Like, would I rather pay him or Trey Hendrickson, who's 30? I don't know. Well, who would you rather pay? Like, you saw what Trey got after already getting the deal and being unhappy. So even if we did pay Trey this year and he had a good year, guess what? We got to pay him again next year. You think he's going to stop? Like, at least this guy respects the contract, going to show out,
Feel like
and
you're
he's
sending some shots
motivated to be in
Trey's way.
Cincy. Yeah, man.
I mean, you'll have
So
to see Trey twice this year, so it'll be
I'm
interesting.
not worried.
I'm
I'm
just
not. Who's
saying.
worried about Trey Hendrickson?
Just saying. You guys see him twice this year,
Like,
so it'll be interesting to see that those matchups for sure. Because I feel like a lot of teams, especially the team that Trey Hendrickson's on now, made a bunch of adjustments in the draft. Um, One thing that's coming out of the draft for me is I think they're giving another run at Lamar being a passer because
yeah, they drafted who
they
they
drafted
take?
Jacoby Lane,
Yeah,
um, which we didn't necessarily cover him pre-draft either, but he's a good body adjustment guy. Goes up and gets the ball. There wasn't a lot of volume for him at USC, but uh, great after the catch. 6'4", 200, big body, right? It's great for a guy like Lamar because right now we've discussed over and over again outside of tight ends, a lot of smaller gadgety wide receivers. Cute, but not going to really be dominant factors on the field. They follow that pickup in the 3rd round with a 4th-round pick of Elijah Surratt. Now, out of the Indiana wide receivers, I enjoyed what I saw to Surratt when I watched him play because, again, big body. When he got the ball, 6'2", 210. Very reliable target for Mendoza in a lot of games. When they needed a tough completion over the middle, it was him a lot of times in those games. So they're given what it seems like, at least for now, Lamar 2 big body receivers to go get the ball, and then a sneaky pick, not necessarily for fantasy because Derrick Henry's still over there. Adam Randall, 6'3", 232, running back out of Clemson. Now, why do I bring this up, Chris? He's a converted receiver.
Okay.
And when
here
he
we go.
played for Clemson, I did not love him playing the running back position because it looked unnatural. Now, you're going to bring a 6'3" guy down in the box to potentially play maybe third string running back or something. And he has receiver skills, right? So you could get him to be kind of that like that utility guy, maybe a younger version, an amped up version of Justice Hill, or you could put him in the slot. Because again, he started his career off as a wide receiver at Clemson. That used to be important to get recruited as a wide receiver to Clemson. That was cream of the crop type deal before NIL years, right? So I think it was a very sneaky pick because it goes under the radar a little bit because he did not have the best collegiate career as a running back. But I don't think he's a running back. And I think we're going to get to see that be unlocked a little bit with the Ravens. Another guy like that, who I didn't really give much love to as a wide receiver. I spoke with a Steeler fan of mine. Not fan, Steeler friend of mine about his draft. Shout out Matt Avila, Teal and Steel, right? Was Jeremy Bernard out of Alabama. Not your typical receiver, but a utility guy. And going to the Steelers, that's the type of guys they like to utilize. He's actually a fun fantasy guy to kind of look at.
They love to utilize those guys.
They do, right? So we believe in Michael Pittman ascending. We believe in DK going back to a similar role. But I think Jeremy Bernard could play his way onto the field with the lack of ascension from Roman Wilson.
Yeah, with Calvin Roman Wilson is one of those guys. One of those guys you're describing who hasn't gotten anything to go
but it
off
hasn't happened for him yet. Calvin Austin is up and down. That's what I'm saying. Jeremy Bernard could step in and really take that role if he is able to be what he was at Alabama, which was an easy completion and then run after catch. And he's a bigger body. So, I don't know. Just some fun guys to throw out there that I looked at the draft and I was like, okay, these guys landed with some capital, not great capital.
I think it's the worst capital, and I don't want to be a hater, and I do at the same time.
I mean, you are going to be a hater because,
any receiver, though, for Pittsburgh or Baltimore, you know what you're signing up for. Like, you know the system. You know what's going to go down, and you're going to be upset with yourself later on. But only reason you're upset is because you said the potential's there. It's just not the right setting for it. Like, it's not the right system. Well, we hoping for something we've never seen. Rashawn Bateman is a talented receiver.
I don't think talented enough to not be able to be supplanted. I don't think he's in that range.
I think he's talented enough to be a receiver too in another system that will actually predicate to his talent. Now, Zay
he
Flowers
could go to San Fran and start based on what I saw them doing the draft.
I think he would have a significant role in San Fran because San Fran knows how to utilize a player like that. If you go throw any of those guys over there in San Fran, there we go, perfect. Throw them in Pittsburgh, throw them in Baltimore. Like,
I feel like there's a little bit of hating, but that's fine. It's expected.
I don't know if it's hating. For example, Isaiah Likely. It's about to go crazy this year. And I don't think he's going to be much different. I don't think he's going to be significantly better than what he already was than last year. I just think it's just a different regime is all. And that's not shade to Baltimore. That's just not their brand of football. So, I mean, they got new coach now? I don't think they changed. They know what works. They know how to get to the playoffs. In our division, you got to play a certain brand of football. And with their brand, that's one of the brands that can counteract what we do well and how we lose to them and how we split games every year is because they don't try to be like us. They're the Ravens. And that's just not their brand. So it's like, I'm not shitting on it in a bad way. It's just, that's not how they win games. That's not their formula. Same thing with Pittsburgh. Which I'm still excited to see. But when Michael Pittman got traded to Pittsburgh, who was happy about that? Who was like, no, you weren't. You're like, yes. I'm so glad he got traded to Pittsburgh. No,
I mean, I just was tired of seeing DK Metcalf costume as a wide receiver one.
Thank you.
He was not that.
He's not that. He's not going to be that. Pittman's going to, I think, have a comparable role, like a 1A type role over there with DK. No shade to DK, but he's a talented guy. I just don't see a difference. I don't think we'll see a difference of play from what we saw in the Colts uniform. That's all. It's like it's gonna be
Oh no, it's not. It's not like an ascension by any means. He's there to help support a young quarterback, is what I think. Because based on here's how life kind of changes, right? Because I am in full belief that the Mekhi Lemon pick was to appease a older quarterback to give him another guy with a little bit more juice to throw to. That's what I believe. The Eagles jumping
100%.
ahead really puts a pin in that plan because Jeremy Bernard is not Mekhi Lemon. There's some similarities I feel like you could play on. Obviously, the run after catch ability, right? But just the level of explosive play. And I think Mekhi Lemon has a little better ball skills as well, just as a natural receiver. Those are the things that Aaron Rodgers loves in his receivers.
Yeah, 100% agree.
Now you didn't get that. Michael
Yeah,
Pittman's still enticing, but if you were able to give him two of those guys, I feel like, again, it gives him a little bit more to be like, all right, cool.
but you have Roman Wilson. Roman Wilson is supposed to be that guy. That's my point. Like, it's not the player, it's the system. If Lemon went there, it's not a sexy pick. It's a potential pick. And we know what
Eh,
happens with potential in Pittsburgh. We've seen it. It's not the same
stop.
Pittsburgh we saw from back in the day. It's
Stop.
true.
They just traded George Pickens. Let's not act like they don't
And we
utilize.
saw what happened once he left. That's once again my point.
Yeah, but he's still a
Pickens been the
good
same
receiver.
monster. No. He went from being a debate to undisputed. Like, it's a
Yeah.
fact now. What we thought was true, what we saw flashes of, is actually a pretty consistent thing. It's actually a weekly
I'm just saying
thing.
they're not
It's
bad
just
at
a fact.
developing receivers.
Yeah. We said no.
The situation you're asking the offensive situation for Pittsburgh, you're basing it in Kenny Pickett years. Mitchell Trubisky
The
starts.
most recent year, the last 5
Yeah, that's what
years,
I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like,
what they
obviously,
go off
you
of.
can't just go all full system with a situation like that. I feel like
You have
you
to.
have to look at the whole situation, which is they
That's
missed on quarterback.
yeah.
I think they missed on who they thought their wide receiver one could be. Because if they kept Pickens, I think the year looks a lot different, right? But obviously, he wasn't happy; he didn't want to be there. I think you have to look at it as like a whole picture, and as a whole picture, it wasn't just a system because when they had the quarterback who could wheel and deal, they made any receiver that they drafted look like
Yeah, but when was that?
elite. It's been years. I'm just saying the system and the culture. You can't discredit like 16 years of culture
You can
for
when
the
it's
last 4 or 5.
2026. Like,
I'm just
how
saying
long ago was that? Let's talk
4 or
about
5
the
years,
last.
I guess. I don't know.
Exactly. If we talk about the last 5 years, that's your new brand. Those choices are a part of the system you created. You decided to try to cheat your way out of getting a quarterback in Kenny Pickett. You tried to sell everyone on an idea that a fake slide was good enough to translate to NFL football. And then after that, you never really addressed it until you had to. And you went and finally signed, what, Russell Wilson? I think they tried first.
Yeah.
You went and signed Aaron Rodgers. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not saying that those are bad moves. It's just, once again, like, I don't think they're ever serious about, hey, let's go get an actual quarterback, because that's just not their system. Their system is defense, is having a crazy front four, is
Yeah.
controlling the run game. That's
It
why they
is.
drafted a running back last year, third round. But this year, okay, we have running backs. You drafted another quarterback that still is not the answer. What was the point in that? Like,
You're not wrong.
you already have your backup. What are we doing here? You have Will Howard. So what you drafted for? You got to come compete for what? Like, you're not serious about it. Like, let's just be honest. Like, you're not taking it seriously. And I don't blame them, because after Kenny Pickett, there was no reason to. Those two picks with the old vets made sense.
Yeah.
Unless you're trading for a legit guy, unless you can go get a Kyler Murray. I mean, they didn't get Malik Willis, which, thank the Lord. Like, that would have been, in my opinion, a move in the right direction, but you got to deal with that. But if you're committed to next year, which a lot of teams are, then it's like, okay, um, we'll see. If Aaron Rodgers, we still got to hear from Aaron Rodgers. I heard he's still in the fence of like playing this year, which is also crazy. With the draft happening, you should kind of know
Yep.
who your quarterback is, not
Yep.
a.
Yep. To close it
So
out. To close it out. Which team do you think completely lost the draft?
lost the draft? That's a
Yeah.
good question.
We go in thinking one thing and then we leave going, what happened?
Jaguars.
Thank you.
There you go. Yeah,
Yeah.
Jags. It's clear as day. They
Kind of
have the worst drafts. Yeah, it's
kind of picked that up. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
sorry, but
I'm gonna go with the Niners. I
nah,
think every player they
nah.
took was well and far away out of the range that they needed to take them. I don't
Interesting.
think Dazon Stribling is a bad player necessarily. I just don't think he does much for the wide receiver room for San Fran. Even though, like you said, they turn a lot of guys into productive wide receivers as soon as they touch the field. They also left the draft without dealing Brandon Ayuk, which I feel like was probably a mission of theirs.
Yeah, big fool.
Kalen Black, the Indiana running back, in the third round. I don't think you're really missing out by spending a third round pick on somebody, but he doesn't move the needle for me as a prospect. I just feel like it was for a team that I feel like has missed in the past in the draft pretty consistently. I know, crazy, right? For how successful they've been, but they've had quite a few misses in the draft. This year kind of adds to that lure of, man, there's some questionable picks in there, right? Stribling goes before Denzel Boston. I think that might be a meme at some point in the year, right? Granted, Denzel Boston's landing spot isn't sexy either, but you tell me you could have given Brock Purdy Denzel Boston and we didn't. I feel like we'll go back and be like, that was too easy. How did that not happen? Time will tell, I guess. But I understand your anecdote about crapping on the Jags draft. Again, I'm trusting and believing.
Yeah,
Things
well,
things got to be in the chamber. Things got to be in the plans. Maybe we're comfortable with what we got, but I think there was some questionable decisions made. One thing that's not questioned was that this video is over. Yeah, this is how we kind of reacted to the draft, man. The next time you see us, we'll be
yeah.
talking about how it impacted fantasy. Because as
Bro, I'm
fantasy
sad.
players, I'm in a
So
couple drafts right now, and we'll talk about how it's looking. But
it's looking rough.
let's just say guys who went in the 4th and 5th round of the draft are going in the 1st round and 2nd round of the rookie draft,
Yeah,
and
we can't end this, bro.
that's enough to tell you the straws we're drawing at. Yeah, super flex leagues and only 2 quarterbacks getting drafted in the 1st round. Yeah, that's where we're at. Any closing thoughts, Mr. SaylessK?
Excited for 27, man. We made it. We
Sheesh,
made
we
it
already
through.
skipping the season?
Yeah, I'm over with this draft.
Oh, well, yeah.
I was over on Monday, brother. Been over with it. So let's go. Let's get to this season, man. I'm ready.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk fantasy for the season because even though as rookie picks didn't go as according to plan, there's some guys who survived the draft that their stock this year, if you thought it was high, what Michael Jordan said, the ceiling is the roof. It's not high enough yet. So that's what Michael Jordan said, man.
Hey, looked up that quote. I ain't heard that one.
That's what he said. The ceiling is the roof. I still don't
Ceiling
know
is
what
the
it means
roof.
either,
Okay.
but I think he just meant it was going really high. So I'm sticking with what the GOAT said. This
Okay.
has been Kick and Post. Please like, subscribe, and share. Thank y'all for y'all's continued support. Thanks for watching the videos. Thanks for commenting. People have been commenting. And we'll see y'all on the next one. Peace.